This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
Hey guys, this is Drew. Just a quick note before we get started on this episode of the Cellcast. This is actually an older episode. This episode, along with all of the other ones that are labeled LooneyVirus back in our feed, which you've probably listened to all the others already, were recorded on April 7th, 2020, under the concept that maybe Jacob and I would not be able to record an episode in case quarantine got real bad, or one of us had contracted COVID, or who knows. Thankfully, neither Jacob nor I, nor any other issues arose, and so these audio programs did not get used in their original thought process. Instead, they have been used primarily when I have been out of town. I don't think we ever used these when Jacob was out. So once again, this is another one of those episodes where I'm out of town. I want either in all honesty, the Tuesday after this is when I would not be able to record an episode. The next episode you'll hear is actually our first full episode of Halloween month, which is our review of Frankenweenie, along with the Star Trek Lower Decks episodes Strange Energies and Kayshawn His Eyes Open. But for now, enjoy this final recording of LooneyVirus Shorts with our review of what might be actually the only horror Looney Tune, though that can't be entirely true, all things considered. But an interesting little horror Looney Tune episode that, honestly, Jacob and I had not seen, I think, before, or if we had, it had been super, super long time, and it only was a vague memory. But enjoy this review of the Looney Tunes short Chow Hound. You should be able to go and find this on HBO Max, assuming they still have it up. I don't know if they have or not. But yeah, enjoy it there, and join us next week for your next normal episode of the podcast, and we will see you then.
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Welcome to another episode of the Cellcast
Shorts.
Joining me today is a man who keeps forgetting the gravy, Jacob.
Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who will never go hungry again. Welcome, Drew.
How are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm doing good. It has been a barrel of laughs.
Yes.
For this night of recording, it's been pretty good with how COVID-19 or the coronavirus has kind of affected our world. It's good to get a good laugh and enjoy something that is somewhat wholesome and entertaining and pseudo family friendly. Definitely the episode, the short we're reviewing for tonight.
Yeah, as Jacob said, we're currently recording a bunch of shorts where we review different Looney Tunes cartoons, just to make up for the fact that there is a chance we may not be able to record a regular episode during the next couple weeks in case quarantines happen. Hopefully, you are listening to these episodes long after the fact, when I've just needed to throw in a short episode to make up for a week.
Yeah.
But today's episode, whatever time of day this is,
whenever you're listening to
this, this episode's episode is a review of the Looney Tunes short Chowhound.
And
this is a Chuck Jones Mel Blanc joint, which I have no idea how we did that 5 times in a row. But that's what happens.
Yes.
In this one, a dog is using a cat to get meat off of people. Just steaks, essentially.
Yeah, steaks.
He portrays a normal cat, a house cat, the cat of a posh woman who very much pampers her cat.
Yeah.
To the gotta catch the mouse cat, and then finally saber-toothed Alley Catus. At a zoo of all places, and we see him go through this twice. The first time he's stealing the meat, but he's fed up with how everything's going, and of course the cat always forgets the gravy. But the second time through, he's seen a ad that says reward if you find for missing pets. So he holds whatever the cat's name is. We don't know the cat's real name.
Yeah, he gives her many names throughout this short.
He holds them off for a day so that they're at least missing, and then takes them back around to his normal route and gets money for returning the cat.
And bamboozles them.
And then he pulls the cord and the cat comes out and he goes to the next place. I'm not going to spoil the ending.
No, because the spoiling is really good.
We'll wait till that until the other side of the review of the spoiler warning, which I guess we'll get to here in just a minute. Do you have any spoiler-free thoughts before we jump into this?
This is a lot darker than the last few episodes we have done for this short. I'm talking dark. Either way, yeah.
All right, so we'll just get into it. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the Looney Tunes short Chowhound. Listener discretion is advised.
Boy, does this dog get its
comeuppance. Oh, my word.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
It's like, okay, he buys a meat shop, which I'm thinking, even if you do that right, that meat's not going to last that long.
No. That'd be like
but apparently he gets extremely greedy and eats it all in one night.
Yeah, goes to the hospital, the vet for it.
Yeah. And says, a classic case of overeating. Well, we'll just have to put him up for the night. And then the cat and mouse that
show up.
The following says, this time we didn't
forget the gravy.
And force feed him gravy until the end of the episode. It's like,
and he is so huge at this point. And there's little sweat beads coming down. It's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
I mean, we when we saw the name of this, it kind of threw us because we didn't quite remember this episode.
No.
And we've been watching off the Looney Tunes Platinum Collection Blu-ray Volume 1. And so, of course, Liz gives a quick synopsis of all of them. And I read it, and it said this was Twilight Zone-esque. We thought, that's an interesting idea.
It does have a little bit of a definitely a Twilight-esque kind of thing, because the moral of the story is, his greed and his...
Even though this would have predated Twilight Zone by a large margin.
Yeah.
But I honestly, when I read that, I was like, okay, it can't be that much.
Yeah.
But when we watched it, it's like the ending is worth the entire way through, even though it feels like it's taking forever to get to the point.
Oh yeah.
But the ending is fairly worth it. Now, I will say there is a cultural depiction of islanders, let's say, or Africans. That is a touch out of date.
Yeah, it's a little...
But admittedly...
Politically incorrect.
It's a little politically incorrect. They do make a gray mouse make up into a bit of blackface, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's only on screen for maybe 3 seconds. And that's I'm just giving that as a fair warning in case some of our listeners are sensitive to that kind of subject. Yeah. I think I'm only sensitive because so many people complain about it. Yeah. So I was like, when I say it's like, oh, that's touchy.
Yeah. It's a good point to bring up.
Right. It's good enough to bring up. In a way, it's kind of mocking blackface to some degree, but it's still blackface.
Yeah, it's still blackface. Agreed.
I can't get past that point.
No.
The rest of the episode, though, I think it's slow. It is slow leading up to the final reveal. Yeah, there's not even really that many good jokes.
No, there's not. I don't think they're really going for jokes. Really, it's more what the dog, how he abuses the cat and the mouse to get what he wants, and they kind of get their revenge at the very end, which is very bittersweet and very freaking dark. It's like a oh come on. It has very much of an Edgar Allan Poe-esque feel to it, where it'd be like you're you're going through this story and like someone's, doing something dastardly or doing something for greed or something like that, and they wind up like in, I can't remember what it was, but the story where the guy gets buried in a wall.
Oh, Cask of Amontillado.
There we go.
I'm probably saying that wrong.
Possibly. It has that Poe feeling to it, where, or like it said, like a Twilight Zone, where it's got this very weird and very not pseudo serious story, and our quote unquote our villain of the story gets his upcomings.
Yeah,
and a very dark, very Poe-esque ending. And I enjoy that. I was like, oh my, it's such a nice twist to it. And they just fade to black as they're pouring the gravy down his throat.
It's like, oh my word, this was allowed in a movie theater?
Yeah, apparently.
All right.
So yeah, that's it's so good in those ways that the using of metaphors and using of irony of greed or gluttony.
It is very much a lesson in not being gluttonous.
Yes,
it's not greedy, because your first thought is greed because he's being greedy throughout most of this, but really it's more gluttony because it's all about consuming.
Yes,
in reality, not just having all the money.
Yeah,
but yeah. So I think that's going to bring us to the end. What are you going to rate this?
Oh, it's a 10. 10, just how well orchestrated it is. The use of, like, they kind of illustrate to more the Twilight Zone or Edgar Allan Poe theming, and the pure dark theming of this. How our very abused side characters get their revenge at the very end of the gluttonous dog, and it's like, here's your gravy now, buddy. It's so good. Yeah, so definitely a 10.
All right, I'm going to give it an 8, just because the lead up to that final piece of irony is so slow and it's a little repetitive.
I agree with you.
The only time it really gets it really mixes it up is when when it's the saber-toothed alley caddis parts, because it is so different on those ones. It's so ridiculous. I'm just giving it an 8 because the ending is very good. Yeah, and it is a lead up all to that. It's just that ending takes a while to get to because it's got to last the entire episode. Yeah. But yeah, it's not that it's bad. It's just I kind of wish there was more to it. Yeah,
it's a nice slow burn.
Yes,
slow burn of an episode,
which is not bad.
It's not.
It's just odd for this style. Of cartoon.
Agreed.
So that's going to bring us to the end of the episode. Hopefully, we are coming out of this coronavirus thing by this point. But we'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully, it's a regular episode. Maybe not. We'll see.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.